Good evening, folks. It's Lord Kuma. We're here going to do a review of the 1973 Preakness Stakes from Pimlico Raceway. We're going to talk about the race. We're going to talk about the move. We're going to talk about the track timer issues. Give a little heads up and a little analysis of what actually happened. And we'll go from there. Hope you all enjoy. I'm not going to screw around too much with an introduction here. We're going to get right to the race. I'll see you at trackside. Okay, folks, got my pipe lit, ready to look at this 1973 Preakness Stakes from Pimlico Raceway. Without further ado, let's get right into it.
All in, they all seem to be standing well. Sham straightens up a little. Secretariat bobs his head. We're still looking, and
there he is, the three horse, and he drops straight back to the back of the pack. Pretty badly.
Then it's also Torsion on the outside. They're coming by us. It's a Taj getting it, and he's still moving away by about 2.5 as they pass the stands. Settling into second, Torsion. Sham has good position, third on the rail. It's another 3 lengths back, Deadly Dream. Then our native and Secretariat.
Okay. I want you to notice this lead horse, a Taj. The rider, as he comes into this turn here, is going to pull him up to kind of ease him into that turn so he's not going too fast so he doesn't end up swinging wide. Ronnie Turcotte's going to notice this. And right as the announcer says, and Secretariat is last, you're going to see Secretariat's butt kind of swing out wide. And he's going to start passing horses. Now, from the time they enter this turn till the time they come out of this turn, which is about 180 feet, Secretariat goes from last to first and circles the field, which is never done at this race on this track. This track is considered to have sharper turns, tighter turns, which is why you don't carry a lot of speed through it. Bill Nack used to say if you go too fast through this first turn, you end up on Belvedere Avenue at the end of the corner out here, picking up your dry cleaning from the Korean dry cleaners. So I want you to watch. You'll get a good look at it as they show the horse, as they kind of zoom in on the lead horse, how his head isn't bobbing as much. And when Secretariat comes into the picture, his head's bobbing like crazy, going back and forth. And that's what I mean about him having him held back a little bit. And because of that, Secretariat catches him all by surprise. He circles the field, including this horse on the rail right here, Sham. Sham gets caught by it too, and he ends up swinging out behind this horse and not around him to chase after Secretariat. He kind of turns on the speed and tries to track him down. And as you watch this race, you're going to see he circles this whole field very much by surprise, and even catches the track announcer by surprise. So let's check it out.
Secretariat is last again as they move
there
into
he goes,
the turn.
Right here.
They're into the turn. A Taj has it by 2 lengths.
See his head's not bobbing so much.
By a length, and then Sham third. Sham under an easy hold right now. But here comes Secretariat. He's moving fast, and he's going to the outside. He's going for the lead, and it's right now he's looking for it. Ronnie Turcotte sends him alongside a Taj. Here we have it. A Taj is the leader, but Secretariat.
It's a great shot of his neck right there. He had a real good thick neck.
That is Sham now going to the outside in third. We're moving down the backstretch. Secretariat holding it by a length and a half. Here comes Sham second on the outside now. Now it's Secretariat the leader by a length and a half with Sham moving into second. And it looks like a Taj has had it, dropping back in third. Coming on in fourth is our meeting, and he's pretty close. Torsion fifth, and a trailer way back is Deadly Dream.
Funny thing about our native who comes in third on this race, he's back here. He finished third in the Kentucky, also in the Kentucky Derby. Same finishing order for both races.
Head of the stretch, Secretariat 2.5. Sham under a strong left-handed whip, and he's making his run now, but it's still Secretariat holding on. Secretariat by 2 lengths. Sham driving second. There's a strong left-handed whip again by Pinkine. He goes to it time and time again, but Ronnie Turcotte has his whip put away, and Secretariat has him put away. He's beginning to wear away.
That's stride, though. Yeah, Ronnie never hit him in the stretch. He never hit him anywhere in the race. Hand ride all the way.
Powerhouse race again by the big, strong Secretariat, who made a very, very swift move on the backstretch, took the lead surprisingly.
Surprisingly is right.
Tweedy, who has just won the second of two very important races to her.
The guy in the red jacket is Lucien Warren, the trainer.
And the Preakness Stakes, and this time he did it the same way. A tremendously effective run. Now here they are, Sham, and watch that left hand of Pincay's, and he can really hit one. But Sham can't handle it. Ron Turcotte just looks over his shoulder and says goodbye for today. It's no race from here to the wire. Turcotte never went to the whip that I saw anyway. If it was very early in the race. He definitely did not hit him in the stretch, and he was drawing away at the wire under a hand ride, winning it by over 2 lengths, make it 2.5.
That's a Kentucky. All right, I'll see you back at the main station there for the conclusion here. So yeah, that was the race. It was an unbelievable race, and to get back to a little bit of that track timer issue, the track timer had malfunctioned. It had gotten bumped or something, and the angle had changed on it. And so it started the race a fraction too soon. And the way they discovered this, where the problem was, is that they actually went back and looked at everybody who had timed the race as fractions that they had marked off, because this was a 1 3/16 race, so it was a little shorter than the 1 1/4 of the Kentucky Derby. So your fractions went, the finish fraction from the mile, the last just under 1/4 mile, that last fraction, 3/16 is just a little bit short of a 1/4 of a mile, so 1/16 of a mile short. They compared that with everybody. They compared the previous 1/4 miles working backwards, and they discovered that the big discrepancy in everybody's time was in the first 1/4 of a mile. Everybody had it at the first 1/4 of a mile at 23 and change, and the track timer had it at 25, which was ridiculous. You saw it. There's no way that was a 25-second 1/4 mile for that lead horse. So they decided that must have been where the problem was. Here was the problem. The daily racing form people that timed the race were not official bodies of Maryland's racing board. So they couldn't do anything about it. All they could do is submit their findings. Apparently, the track had either an official photographer or an off-duty track timer operator who was there, who timed the race. Who timed it? The official time came back 1:55 flat, which was ridiculous. There's no way that race was running 1:55. Everybody knew it. Everybody knew that time was. There was no way that time was right. So this guy who officially worked for the track had apparently timed it at 1:54 and 1 or something like that, or 1:54 and 2, which the funny part about that is the guy that said he timed it, he was literally standing right next to Bill Nack, the autobiographer, who had been following Secretariat since his 2-year-old year. They were standing in the same area together. He was there doing crowd control or something for the jockey stand or whatever. And they were kind of standing together. And he says that he timed the race at 1:54 and 2. And Bill Nack was like, I don't think so. I didn't see a clock in his hand. He was there taking pictures and doing crowd control. I didn't see a clock in his hand. He said he might have, but I didn't see it. So that time was always going to be suspect. Um, CBS actually took film that they had of the record-setting performance for the Preakness, which was turned in by a horse named Canonero II, a couple of years before. I think in 1970 or 71, and I think it was 71. He had set the track record at 154 flat, and they compared them frame for frame on a split screen to the Maryland Racing Board. And Secretariat beat him by 3 lengths, something like that. If Canada the second was at 154 flat, 3 lengths being a fifth of a second per length, that's 3/5 of a second. That puts his time at 153 and 2/5, which would have been the record. Well, Maryland Racing Board wouldn't give it to him. Even with all that evidence, they said, well, yes, but it's not an official. Our rules state that it has to be an official Maryland Racing Board track official that overturns this time. So that stood that way for years. And finally, 2 interesting things happened. Number one, well, first of all, computers came into the game. They could digitally time the race. And number 2, the Maryland Racing Board changed their bylaws. They changed the rules that would allow outside sources, as long as they were approved by the board and unimpeachable and were credible sources, could be used to correct any track timing issues for the purpose of records keeping. So those 2 things happened. They went to the Maryland Racing Board with the computer timer and retimed the race for the board. And an interesting thing popped up. Secretariat didn't run it in 153 and 2, like everybody thought that he did. Daily Racing Form, that's what they timed him at, 153 and 2. So the Daily Racing Form actually put a note in the official track record on their publication that the Daily Racing Form time was 153 and 2, and it was a new track record. It was going to be a new track record according to them. Whether Maryland would recognize it or not, they were going to recognize it. So they went back and redid this, and they found out that it wasn't 153 and 2. It was 153 flat, which beats the record by a whole second. So that is the official record in Maryland racing to this day. I just find it fascinating that it took him that long to do it. He ran an amazing race. He made an amazing move. And what else can you say? I hope you all enjoyed it. Look for the next one. I'm going to be doing the Belmont next. So hopefully we'll be able to get this thing wrapped up here as far as the Triple Crown races. And maybe we'll throw in a couple of extras. Maybe we'll do the Man of War. Maybe we'll do the Marlboro Cup. Maybe we'll do a quick review on his last race, the Canadian International. Maybe we'll do a couple of his youngster races if I can find those. A couple of his good ones like the Bayshore and the Gotham. So anyway, hope you all enjoyed it. We'll talk to you real soon, and until then, stay cool.